yesterday, full wets might be the best option, and then make a decision on what to do. They obviously don't want to be in a position where you're out there on completely the wrong tyres, out in slicks, and then it starts to really hammer down. So probably the right decision just to have that bit of a delay.
What they don't want most of all, Toprak Razgatlioglu and Jonathan Ray, is to be on split strategies, one on one tyre and one on the other. That's particularly what Toprak won't want.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be keeping an eye on what everyone else is doing, seeing if there's a change of tyres, and if anyone does decide to opt from their slicks, and you could easily have a bit of a double bluff in a situation like that as well.
Well, we'll wait for confirmation to come in here as to what we will be doing in terms of the new schedule. You can see along the bottom of your screen weather conditions. Drops of rain in the first and the fourth sector have caused a slight delay to the scheduled start. Of course, we have got to be mindful that we've got a fair schedule to get through here today, and that when I looked at the weather forecast ahead of today's action, I couldn't find the island of Lombok, and the reason is it was shrouded, let's say, in the wet weather that's supposed to be coming later on this afternoon. From 2 p.m. onwards, Lombok is rain.
Yeah, and it's a big island as well. There's 3.5 million people on this island, so it's not a small part of Indonesia, and it does look like it's going to get covered over the course of today. So certainly that's where it's really critical for these guys to be able to get out for race one and see what happens. But certainly it is going to be a wet day at some stage today. Hopefully we're able to get this race underway pretty soon and see what happens in that championship battle.
Yes, I really do hope that we will get underway and get a full complement of races, or as full a complement as has been possible after the cancellation, of course, of the Superpole race this weekend. These are moments where you want to call on experience.
What's interesting is on our timing screens, you can see there at the bottom of the screen it's saying drops of water in sectors 1 and 4. We actually don't have anything on our timing screens now to say drops of rain in any of the sectors. We do get that any time that there's rain, so we are still waiting to see an update. There you go. Well, there is still some rain falling down there in the back end of the circuit.
Yes, so presumably still in the same 4 sectors that the notification came from. That was a close-up shot of a puddle, and even your ability to recognise corners, I don't think you'd be able to manage it with just a close-up of a puddle. But as Perariba stalks away from the grid, these are more nervous moments for the riders, particularly those involved in this championship fight, of course.
Yeah, and it is interesting to see that the rain does seem to have pushed away from the start line. We don't seem to have anything outside of our commentary box, so that would be pushed towards the end. So you can see from the crowd in the hillsides here that they've all got their umbrellas up. We've seen everyone out with their Macs on as well now, so everyone just trying to keep themselves as dry as possible. But certainly if we do have more rain coming down, that's always to the advantage. You can see for Jonathan Ray, just maybe a change of helmet there, maybe changing to a slightly less smoked visor there as well on the grid.
Notice the 3-minute board was still being shown at the side there on the starting grid, and the countdown was still going at 2.5 minutes as well. So not sure whether there's anything to read into that, as the riders seem to be preparing themselves as best as possible at very least.
Yeah, you can see Jonathan Ray put his helmet back on, Chaz Davis putting his gloves back on, so maybe the riders just making sure they're able to keep themselves ready. I did see some mechanics go out with new tyres onto the grid, and some of them Van der Mark's BMW crew, they've come back into pit lane with those tyres, so they're not making a change on the grid at this stage.
At very least, that rainfall is a reminder that at any stage during this race we could get a little bit of rain that could throw the championship destination and destiny into doubt. Razgatlioglu might lead by 30 points at the moment, but there's a potential 25-point swing ahead of us, and we get rain in dry conditions, and perhaps Toprak leading might be the first one to encounter it.
Yeah, and looking on the grid there, you can see the riders have started their bikes, and everyone making their way off, so the teams might have been given some information that we're still waiting for up in the commentary box, but it does look like we're about to get underway.
Yes, did notice that the countdown was still going at the side of the grid, so we wait for official confirmation. But in the meanwhile, the next board is shown, so it does look as though at 5 past the hour we will be able to start to build up towards finally going racing. And it has been, I say finally, advisedly as well, not because of the delay this morning, but because, of course, we were supposed to be getting underway 20 hours earlier than what we have yesterday afternoon, when the wet weather was just too much for us to be able to get underway with racing. Toprak has a little glance across to the camera to his side. He knows that all of